Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th iteration of the WHYBUT podcast. My name is Nick, and I am joined by my co-host, Isaac, as always. Isaac, I was receiving a parcel this morning. I went to go pick it up from my apartment building's reception.
Yes.
You sent me this parcel, a turntable from a video that you've either watched or is coming soon, depending on when this comes out. And I was picking it up, Isaac, from building reception. And before the guy who works there handed it to me, he said, "Oh, this is from Isaac. Sender address Isaac."
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, it is. And he was like,
not delivered
yes.
directly from Amazon at all. It was directly from Isaac.
From you. Yeah. I just wasn't in, obviously, when you came to deliver it.
Yeah. Hand delivered it as well.
Exactly. It's signed and everything.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Oh, what's he been up to?" And I said, "Great question. Just hold on a few hours, because I'm going to be asking him that very thing in just a moment." So, Isaac, for my building reception, please tell us what you've been up to.
I've been up to a couple of things, man. For the most part, life chugs along as usual. The days pass by, the minutes turn into hours, that kind of thing. But the big thing that I was talking to you a little bit about on our last game stream, Nick, is that I have recently purchased the virtual reality game Beat Saber. Are you familiar with the concept?
I am. So from what I understand, not a game I've played, but from what I understand, it's a VR game. So you've got your headset on and you've got effectively a equivalent of a lightsaber in your hand.
Yep.
And it's basically like Guitar Hero, but you have the saber and you have to kind of swish at the correct notes that are coming towards you in a Guitar Hero style fashion.
Yeah. So usually you play with two. So you got two controllers, two sabers, one in each hand, two single sabers. And then basically 3D cubes come towards you in a virtual space, and they will have an arrow on them that's like either up, down, left, right, or like kind of diagonally up, diagonally down, diagonally left, diagonally right, and you just have to swipe them. You have to cut them in half in the correct fashion, right? So if the arrow points up, you got to swipe up to cut it in half. You get more points for like how perfectly you cut it in half. If you cut it like directly down the middle, you get like bonus points.
Okay.
And you also get more points for like a bigger swoosh as well. Like you got to get, I think they say like a 15-degree angle like before and after to try and prevent you from just kind of doing little wrist flicks, to get it.
Oh, okay, right.
So bigger swipes and more accurate slicing gets you more points. I've not really focused too much on the points, but like I look at the leaderboards and there's some people with crazy points and I'm like, how did they get that? It turns out that there's like things you can do to get more points in Beat Saber. But anyway, that's the general premise. So you stood up and then you've got the two sabers and you kind of just go to music, right? So there's music being played. That should have been, I don't know if either of us mentioned that, but there'll be a song and the cubes are in beat with the song, right? Beat Saber.
Who knew?
It's good fun. So I play it on the PlayStation VR 2. Which we played a little while back on stream, right? We
did, yes.
What the Bet, I think it was, which is
it
was a game.
And we tried to play something else as well, and it broke. Your system broke, right?
We tried to play Gone, but then there was one of my controllers was like stuck always like as if the
left
right
or
analog
right,
stick was like held. Yeah.
And
I had to send it back. I had to armor it, but Sony sent it back to me, and it's all fixed, and I'm playing with it. And it's a good game, man. It's a really good game. It's a surprisingly good workout as well. Like I've taken to recording it like as an exercise on my Apple Watch, which we'll get to in a second. I want to talk about the Apple Watch as a topic after this, but it's good fun. It's a good fun, and it gets the heart rate up, and it's good. There's a couple of things. So you got to hit the beats right, and there's like a campaign that you can play. And the campaign obviously starts out quite easy and then gets more difficult. It's one of those games where I don't know how much it helps that I have played a musical instrument before, because especially as you move to the higher difficulty levels, I think it's quite helpful when you can kind of use both hands independently, right? Because you'll have one hand doing like one set of actions, especially when you're playing on like expert. You'll have one hand doing one set of actions and another one doing like a completely different set of actions. And it kind of gives you that same feeling that playing the piano does, right? Which I do occasionally. I'm not like an expert pianist. But it's one of those things where after a certain while as well, it's almost just like muscle memory. Like I'm not even focusing directly on like, I couldn't tell you the last like 5 notes I hit, but my spinal cord or whatever it is, like my instincts see the notes coming and they just hit it, right? And sometimes it feels great, but there'll be like 12 notes that you hit in a row, like real fast they'll come. And then I'm like, I have no idea how I hit those. Like, my brain did not register the arrows and the way they were pointing, but my arms hit every single note. And I'm like, and it feels great. It's tremendous. So much so that I'm playing the campaign, right? The campaign starts out easy and then moves up. So there's easy, normal, hard, expert, and expert plus, right? And I can beat a good number of songs on expert. I can't beat any songs on expert plus currently. But I've only been playing for like two weeks, right? So we'll see.
Okay.
But the campaign starts out and you just gotta like beat a song, right? Easy. You gotta beat the songs, fine. Then the campaign will swap and they'll be like, you've got to get at least a 30-note streak, right? So you got to hit at least 30 notes in a row, because it works in a similar way if you've not played Guitar Hero, to where if you miss too many notes in a row, you just lose, you fail the level out, right? There's like a bar, and as the bar fills up, you're good, and if the bar hits 0, you lose the level. So it's possible to beat the level, but miss a lot of notes. But
Sure.
So one of the campaign missions will be like, hey, get a minimum of like an 80-note streak. Fine, easy, done, right? Then it'll be like, get a minimum of score of like 500,000. It's like, yeah, easy, done. Then one of the crazy options is like, one of them was like, you have to move at least your arms at least 900 meters within the context of the song before the song's ended.
Oh,
so
right.
It tracks obviously where your hands are, and you've got to do. So I'm hitting them and I'm doing the biggest swipes that I possibly can, up and down, left and right. And then whenever there's like a little bit of a lull, I'm doing like this as well, just to maximize. And I have never, like, my heart rate was through the roof trying to hit. I got to like, the first time I did it, I got to like 825 meters out of 900, and I failed. It was like level failed. And I had to go and do it again and try and get over 900 meters. It was tough, man. But then as you progress even further forward, then they start doing like these weird kind of inverse challenges where you have to miss at least 30 notes, right? They'll be like, you've got to miss at least 30 notes, but not fail the level. So you've got to kind of time them perfectly to where you miss one, but then you get like the next like 12 or whatever to not fail. And then the one that I found the difficultest, or the most difficult, was one that was like, you have to get a note streak of more than 25, but less than 30, right?
Right, okay.
So I start the song, and I got like a 25 note streak, bang on. And then every time after that, when I try and get close to 20, I just purposely miss one, right?
Sure.
But the songs in the campaign at this point are not that difficult to play, right? Because I've played the quick play mode a bit more. And so, but the songs are a little long, but they're not hard. So I'll hit my 25, and then I'll start missing it like when I get back up to 20, because there's a little counter. But then my brain will kind of drift, and I'll start thinking about something else, and I'll just be fucking hitting the notes, and then I'll just be like, level failed, because I've hit 30 in a row without even thinking about it. Just like passively, my brain has just like hit 30. And I must have done this like 5 times, like an actual psychopath. Like, I'm playing this level, and I keep doing the same thing, and I have to like,
keep winning. What's wrong with you?
I have to keep laser focusing in, being like, come on now, Isaac, just focus for like 4 minutes on this song. Don't get more than 20. And when you focus, it's easy. It's not a difficult task. But there was just something about like the instinctiveness of it that my brain just wanted to, when I was out thinking about other stuff, I'm like, oh, what are Nick and I going to talk about tomorrow? And I just passively get a 30-note streak, and then it's like level failed, and my brain's like, wait, what? How did we fail?
I think that so what you're saying here, what's happened is that the gaining of the ability to play this game with purely muscle memory has caused your downfall in inverse campaign goals, where you have to actually get stuff wrong because your mind has drifted and you're getting stuff right.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Okay. Very interesting.
No, it's very tricky. It's just bizarre. It's an odd situation, because I've noticed that like one of the most difficult things for people playing piano, like playing piano is not particularly difficult, right? Like I say that it's obviously quite difficult, but like playing a song with one hand, like if you're just playing the right hand to a song, not too bad. I think you could sit most people down, kind of be like, hit this note, then this note, and do it in this pattern and with this cadence, and they can get it. And if they have to do the second hand at the same time, that's when it gets a bit more tricky, right? But it's not too bad if you're hitting the same notes, like if it's note, 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 like they're different notes, but in time. The really tricky bit is when they're moving at different rates, you know, where it's like note, 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 no, 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 no. You know what I mean? Where the left and the right hand are not in sync. You
detach.
Yeah.
The almost the cadences of each hand and the almost the BPM of each hand. You're kind of playing
Yeah.
at two different tempos almost.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's when it gets the most difficult in terms of playing the piano. And I think it's the same with Beat Saber, right? The same thing with Beat Saber. If both hands are doing something, there's quite a few times where you'll like, there'll be two notes that come at you at once. By the way, the notes are color coordinated. So your right saber will be like purple and your left saber will be like gray. And so you have to hit the right note with the right saber. And as you move into more difficult levels, they'll make it real hard. So they'll make like they'll have like a grey one over on your left for your left saber, and they'll also have a grey one on the right. So you got to move real fast from side to side to hit it. But there's a lot of notes that come and they'll be like two at a time. So you'll swipe like up like that, and you'll hit them both at the same time. Those ones are easy enough to hit, right? But if on the left hand you've got like up down up down up down up down, and then on the right it's like down up down 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 up down 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 up down, like it's tricky to kind of balance those
honestly,
two.
Yeah, I have a lot of trouble with doing that kind of thing. That's why I'm terrible. I was terrible at Guitar Hero. That's why when we played that game that was like 2D, like paper,
like Disaster Band,
style.
is that the one?
Disaster Band, that's the one. I couldn't do that one either because it's just two completely different cadences. What was I playing? I played something recently. I think it was at an arcade, you know. I think it might have actually been Guitar Hero itself. It might also have been Dance Dance Revolution.
Sure,
that's the one with the four pad. Yeah, the D pad that you dance on, don't you? It might have been that one as well. And like coordinating, because in my head you just either go front and back pads or left and right pads, but it's like front and right, back and right, front and back, front and left, and you basically end up kind of doing one man twister, right? But yeah, I have a lot of trouble with that kind of thing, which is interesting. But maybe it's because I haven't really played any of these games extensively.
Yeah, I'd be interested if it's like because like my brain loves it, right? Like my brain is built for this kind of. I don't know if it's built for it, obviously, because I've done it a lot, right? But like, I really like rhythm games, right? I played a ton of Guitar Hero growing up. I played so much of it, and Beat Saber hits the same note, but then you also get the endorphins of like exercising at the same time. Right?
Yes,
like you get to the end of a song, and you're like, to be honest, you've got this thing strapped to your head, and so you start to sweat, and you can feel the sweat kind of coming down around the headset.
Yeah, right. Especially, I can imagine like in the.
The VR does a surprisingly good job at keeping it out of the eyes, because I wear my glasses under the headset and it works fine. And they don't get like steamy or anything, which I'm happy about. But I do end up finishing yesterday I played for an hour and 50 minutes, and then I take the headset off and I've got lines like right all the way around my eyes, like I've just like I've slept on a like I've slept on a waffle iron, but just in the shape of the VR headset cut out. Yeah, but it's good. The one thing I have noticed, so the game comes with some songs, but all of the songs that it comes with are not like not songs you've heard of, right? They're I think they're composed by the person who made the game. Let me check that though. Beat Saber. Who made Beat Saber?
Is it an indie game? Beat Saber?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I think it's just a dude who made it.
Very nice.
Oh, the developer is Beat Games, but I don't know if that was like designed by somebody or not. Yeah, Jaroslav Beck. It says composer, so I think he made a lot of the songs. It's possible that like he came on and it was like it might be like a small team or something. But it's developed by Beat Games, who I don't think have any other games, right? I think they've just kind of developed that. Beat Saber began after the completion of Beat Games. Oh, maybe they made a previous game. But anyway, it's a small team, I think. It's not like it's published by EA or whatever, right? So a lot of the default songs are composed by this dude, right? And I've not heard of them. They're pretty good, right? There's a lot of like EDM, a lot of electric music, right? That kind of thing, which I'm kind of into. It's quite good. But then obviously in Guitar Hero fashion, they sell packs, right? Song packs that you can purchase. And growing up, I didn't have a job as a child, right? I was playing Guitar Hero at like the age of, I don't know, 9 or something, right? When did
that checks out
Hero 3
approximately
released? When did Guitar Hero 3 come out? Because I played the most Guitar Hero 3, 2007. See, I'll have been 11 when that game came out. Which,
I think that's when I was like 9, I think, 2007.
Yeah,
that's when I used to go to friends' houses to play it. Yeah.
So I played so much Guitar Hero. And like, obviously, you load up the game. And for the longest time, I didn't have Xbox Live, so I didn't see it. But then as soon as I did get Xbox Live, suddenly there's like a ton of paid content you can buy, right? There's so many songs that you can buy for Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, the songs are like £1 each, and the albums are like 15 quid or whatever. And I'm like, who's paying this? This seems like a crazy amount of money. Obviously, as a child, I'm like, this is insane. But now that I am an adult who has the money to waste, apparently, I've bought way too many Beat Saber packs, man. Like too many sound packs.
And these are real songs then that are available to buy. Right, okay.
So they
Very
have,
interesting model that.
It is. So the packs, the songs are like £1 each, or you can pay for usually it's like an artist specific pack for usually like 10 quid, right?
Okay.
And you just get all of the songs, list of Beat Saber songs. So I think the most recent sound pack they released was Queen, but then prior to that they've got The Weeknd, they've got Lizzo, they've got Fall Out Boy, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish. You know,
okay.
They've got quite a few
they're not messing
of these
about
packs.
then. They're not messing about. These
they're
are
not
like
messing
big-time
about.
artists. Yeah.
And then they've got a couple of packs, Imagine Dragons on there. They've got a couple of packs that are like, not from one artist. Like I think there's a rock pack that has just like 10 rock songs or whatever. There's an electronics mixtape that has, you know, some like a song by Zed, a song by Marshmello, a song by Rudimental. They've got like a couple of custom packs as well.
Sure.
And I've probably bought like 6 of these packs already, man. The game is only £20. It's not an expensive game, but I think I've since spent like maybe £60 on packs, sound packs for Beat Saber. But they're so good. They make it so much more enjoyable to keep playing.
That's a very interesting model that they give you songs that are kind of generic songs, but if you want songs you like / artists you like, then you've got that's the DLC.
I will say they've it comes with there's like a base set of songs for the game, but then there's also a section that says extras, which does have a couple of like songs that I recognized that are free with the game. I think they've kind of been adding to that over the years. So, but yeah, no, it's good. It's a good game. I thoroughly enjoy it, and having more songs to play just makes it easier to play for a longer period of time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure. Because you're not kind of just repeating the same songs over and over again. And it's kind of maybe songs you'd have listened to anyway. Songs maybe that you put on a gym playlist and you just do it at home and you get your workout in. So how do you lose a round? Do you have to get above a minimum score threshold? I'm just thinking, when you mentioned the inverse challenges where you've got to maybe fail a certain amount, can you just fail that at the beginning and just hold your controllers like this and wait till you fail that much and then
there's like
kind of go for it afterwards?
There's like 2 separate states, I guess, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing quick play, so there's like quick play and campaign, right? On the campaign, you can finish the song but still fail if you've not hit the criteria, such as hit this many notes or don't hit this many notes or whatever. Generally, though, there's like a bar at the bottom that denotes how good you're doing. So it starts in the middle, so that's like middle fullness. And as you hit notes and as you get streaks and stuff, the bar will move up. And then as you miss notes, it'll start to move down. And I don't know the exact like algorithm they use, but it feels like if you miss consecutive notes, it goes down real fast, right? Like especially on expert mode, I'll be playing a song, and if like a section comes up, if I miss like 7 or 8 notes, it'll be like level failed. You've failed. Even in quick play, right? You can go into a practice mode where you can change the speed of the song and choose where you start, and that way you can kind of practice a certain bit if you want to play it, you know, if you want to get good at it. But even in quick play, if you just jump in to play a song, if you are not good enough to kind of mostly play the song, like, you know, you're hitting 80+% of the notes and in somewhat of a consistent manner, then it's just going to be like level failed and you got to start again, right? Okay, and there were a couple of songs like that. The other day I was playing, I bought the Queen pack like a few days ago, and I was just playing the whole thing top to bottom, right? So I'm playing every song in the Queen pack, and I'm playing on expert, and for the most part, not a problem, right? Like they're tricky. You're moving a lot, heart rate's getting up there, but I beat most of them first try on expert mode. But then there's one freaking song on the Queen pack that was.
Let's see if I recognize it. I don't not listened to too many Queen songs in my time.
I'd not heard of it, Nick. So if that makes it any better, but it was
probably not.
Stone Cold Crazy. Stone Cold Crazy is the name of the song. It's the shortest song on the track on the album. It's 2 minutes 15 seconds long, but my goodness, it is such a fast song. Playing it on expert, that the notes were just coming so fast. I played the song I tried like 15 times to beat it and I just couldn't. And then I had to like pack it in for the night. And then the next day I came back and I did eventually beat it. But like, man, some of them are real quick. It's because usually it's the higher the BPM the song, the harder it is, right?
Yeah.
Because the notes kind of correlate to the beats of like the drums or the vocals or whatever it is. And so a lot of Queen songs, like Bohemian Rhapsody is on there, and it's long, but it's not hard, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the Stone Cold Crazy is like 240 beats per minute. It's such a fast song, and it was tricky, man.
Is it like one of those like really fast guitar riffs? Like
Yeah, but like even just from the beginning, just from the get-go, it just goes hard.
It's like a 5-minute song almost packed into 2 minutes and 15 seconds of madness for your arms to try and tackle.
It's you're telling me, man. For the most part, it's not too bad on the arms, but when you're trying to do it that fast, even in such a small period of time, the blood gets pumping, the sweat starts dripping, and the arms start hurting real quick when you're trying to move that quick, man.
Very interesting. I don't have a VR headset, but there are popping up quite rapidly now VR cafes. Near where I live. I think there's like 2 or 3 near me, and friends of mine have been to them and have had very positive things to say. You just go in, you pay a certain amount, and it's like going to an arcade, but you just put a VR headset on and pick from a selection of games, right? So if I end up going into one, I will try Beat Saber, because that's one of the main VR games that I've heard of. Apart from, I think that's one of the only VR games that is only for VR almost.
Sure.
That I've heard of, because I know that like this games like Keep Talking Nobody Explodes and stuff like that, right? Which is
like
VR. VR. Exactly, VR adaptations, but isn't designed from the ground up for VR. But it's still very popular. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
It's surprisingly good. So you can get it on other headsets. The one kind of problem with the PlayStation VR, it looks fantastic, right? It's like a 4K OLED screen. I want to say 120 FPS, but it might be 90 FPS VR to FPS. It is, or maybe frame rate. Oh yeah, no, 120 FPS is possible, and I think Beat Saber is probably running at that. So like 2 4K OLED panels that are doing 120. It looks fantastic, but the downside to that high fidelity is it's got a wire that comes off it, right? You can play this game on like a Meta Quest, like a fully wireless Meta Quest, right?
Which
has got a Snapdragon chip in it or whatever, right? And so the game's not going to look as good. I think it's still going to run smoothly. It's just going to look a little worse.
But you're not tethered.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Interesting.
I'm contemplating setting things up in such a way that because right now the wire kind of comes straight down from the headset, like in front of me, right? And so if I stand too far away from my PlayStation, as I swipe, I end up like hitting the wire, right?
Yes.
And so I've got to stand close enough to where the wire is like basically just touching me, so that I can swing my arms in front of me without hitting it. And it's obviously hard to keep track of where you're at in the room when you're in when you can't see anything, right? And so I'm kind of contemplating, because I've got like a corner of the room where I do it, like putting a hook on the roof and then getting an extension cable so I can have it above me.
Sure.
Yeah. And then you can use like an extension USB cable to plug it into the PlayStation, which I think would be better. That way I don't have to worry so much about swiping it and being in like the exact right spot every time, because that's a pain, man. It's a pain trying to make that happen.
How very interesting. No, that seems like a pretty good idea. Yeah, the world of wireless VR is kind of trying to break into the market now, isn't it? But it's not that I think MetaQuest is one of them.
I think there are a few of them.
Really?
I don't know if there are. I don't know anymore. I know Valve has still got the I was going to say the Vive, but that's not what they have. Index, that's the one.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah, that one's still a tethered experience, I believe. And that one's even got the docks, right, that you got to place around. Like, it's not inside-out tracking, it's outside-in
the little
tracking.
light field cameras. Yeah. And then there's Vision Pro, but that's apparently the battery life's not very good. Well, they've got their little kind of extension thing with the little external battery pack, right? And that'll be first gen. And so, I assume if you try and run a game on it, it won't last very long. There's that big screen beyond thing as well. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's like quite a small VR headset that's coming to fruition. I don't know if that's tethered or not. I think that's coming out like imminently, the big screen beyond. It's meant to be, it's like a smaller, lighter VR headset that takes up less space on the head.
I just said the smallest VR headset,
Yeah, which is...
That one's OLED as well.
It is, yeah. So
it's £1,000, $1,000.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? It is a lot. It is a lot of money.
That's the thing. That the Meta Quests, they don't have like the VR. They don't have like the OLED screens, and I don't think they're as high on the refresh rate, and I don't think they have like. There's little things like the PlayStation one's got like iris tracking, like eye tracking as well, and I'm not as familiar with the Meta Quest stuff. I also just kind of don't want a Facebook account, so that's most of the reason why I don't have it. You've got to buy the business
one if you want to not create an account, right? Which is annoying as hell.
But even then, I imagine if you want to buy any games or anything, you probably still have to do it, right? I think
potentially.
I think one cool thing about the Meta Quest though is that I'm pretty sure you can you can use a tether to plug it into your PC and play PC VR games on the Meta Quest.
Yes.
So it has
yes, you
the
can.
benefit of being able to make that happen, because one thing that you see a lot online, if you have the PC version of Beat Saber, you can just mod it, and there's like people have made thousands of songs that you can just download for free, which
okay.
One thing I do really appreciate about the sound packs for Beat Saber, though, they've clearly put a lot of, like, as somebody who has played some of the Guitar Hero like premium packs, like that you have to play, like I had some friends who had them, they would basically just like they'd create a new, obviously like a new level you had to play, like they change where the buttons are and stuff, and it'd match up to the song. But like the background would usually be kind of the same. Whereas with Beat Saber, they've made like full new 3D environments for each different artist, right? And they look very good.
Oh, that's quite cool.
It's really cool, and it's like it's themed as well. Like I have the Weekend pack, and that one's got like this whole red and black theme, so the notes change, they're red and black, and they've got like each song has like a different world animation and stuff. And it looks really cool, and then like the lights kind of flash and come up to the beats of the music, and it really enthralls you in it a little bit. It's good stuff.
Oh, amazing. Very good. I mean, man, I've just got an Amazon. The Meta Quest Pro is pretty much half the price that it debuted at. I think it's like £750 now.
Wow.
That is quite something, given that I think it was meant to be $1,500 when it came out. And I think the regular one, the Quest, has the Quest 3 come out? Because I know that was a thing that was Meta Quest 3. I have tried the Meta Quest 2.
Yeah.
It is out. It's about £480. And you're right. It's not the highest fidelity thing in the world. It's kind of blurry-ish. It's not perfect. But given that...
And to clarify, neither is the PSVR 2, right? Like, I think it looks really good. It's the best one I've seen, but it's not... It's not what... I would still, like, wish it to be perfect, right?
Sure,
and it's still not quite... You've still got to, like... It's really awkward because you got to put the headset on, and then you got to kind of adjust it to lock it in place, and then you got to adjust the pupil dilation space to get it just right for you. And there's like a couple of knobs and dials that you've got to kind of tweak with to get it perfect. You can play it without that. Obviously, if I'm playing just me for a few hours, I'll put it on. But then if you're wanting to play with other people, having them try and adjust things, it's like, it's awkward, you know?
It's a bit faffy, right? To go back and forth like that and to have to do that adjustment every time. It's like having two people that drive one car who are completely differently shaped, right?
Yeah.
But my mum got a new car recently, and it's manual seat controls, right? But three of us drive it, all with and my parents are like this close to the steering wheel, right? Like driving like this, and I want to be like 10 meters back, right? Barely being able to reach the steering wheel. So every time one person gets in, you just gotta be like, get the seat back, just the steering wheel.
I was gonna
get the mirrors right, like, just all the mirrors, and then
if it's just a moving the seat thing, it's fine. But it's like, it's again when the steering wheel height's adjusted, and the rear view mirrors adjusted, and then maybe the side mirrors are adjusted, and the seat.
Sometimes you'll start driving, and then you'll look in the rear view mirror, and you're like, oh God, like I can't see anything. You got to adjust it a bit. So I imagine in a situation where that might even be closer in time to swapping over, right? Where something is, if you're swapping players with a VR headset, going through that process every single time is not ideal. It would be great if there's some kind of, this would be very expensive, but some kind of like automated solution where you just put it on and it kind of like
it just kind of
closes your eyes itself in on your head. Yeah, exactly. Moves its lens pieces to get that right. I have to wear glasses like you. I've the only time I've ever tried VR, I've had to wear glasses underneath that as well. Like trying not to scratch your glasses, like putting the headset on very kind of carefully.
Yeah. One thing they do sell that I'm really contemplating, you can buy, like companies will sell prescription PSVR 2 lenses where you get the lens made to your prescription, and then you just kind of plop it in, and then whenever you put the headset on, it's just like you don't have to wear your glasses with it because it's got your like a second lens in front of the main lens, right? That is just your prescription, which looks really cool. It's gonna be like 70 quid for me to get the lenses, but like I might do it, man.
For lenses, that's not the worst, actually, to be fair. For I guess even for VR headset lenses, that's very interesting. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. But yeah, the Quest 2 that I've used, not amazing. For the price, I think it's like,
that's the thing, right?
At the time, it's like 250 to 280 pounds, something like that. Unreal. So good. I was contemplating just buying one to play around with, right?
Yeah. You can't beat it, right? That's the thing. Like, I like the PSVR 2, but you can't really recommend it to people because not only is the PSVR 2 like £550 in and of itself, you also need a £500 PlayStation 5 to play it.
Yeah.
So it's a upwards of £1,000 investment before you've got any games that you can play it, right? On the PlayStation itself. And it's just, you know, it's a tricky sell for sure. The haptics are great though, actually. So like in
the headset itself?
The headset and on the little PSVR controllers.
Okay.
So like, as you hit the notes, you get a little vibration every time. If you like touch the sabers together in the world, you get like a buzz in both hands, and it's surprisingly good at kind of giving you a different feel as you move them like up and down the, like if you touch the sabers at the top and at the bottom, like there's like a different. It's just very well done. It's the haptic feedback on that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's also
interesting
on some of the maps. There's like big blocks that come at you, so you have to kind of move left, right, or like up, down. Like you'll have to duck as like a big block comes in your way. But there's cool stuff there as well. Like if you put your hand into one of the big blocks, you get like a fuzzy feeling. Like it's just very immersive in the way that it works. It's a good game. It's very well done.
Oh, very interesting. And how much space do you have, and would you recommend to have? How much do you move about?
So you don't need a ton of space. Basically, like with the PSVR 2 headset, obviously it's only head tracking, right? And so whenever I move to the side, I don't actually have to physically move to the side. I just have to move my head side to side to avoid whatever obstacles are coming, right? Obviously, I have to crouch fully to avoid like an overhead thing. But for the most part, you can just kind of stay still, but move. Obviously, you can move to the side, but then it's harder to reorient yourself. So for the most part, you just have to move your head to avoid the big cubes that come at you. So you only really need as much space as your arms can go out fully, right? Which is obviously quite a bit of space. The PSVR 2 has like 2 modes. You can play seated or you can play what they call room scale. The PlayStation VR room scale requires at least a 2x2 meter square space. So you need 2 meters horizontally and 2 meters, I was going to say vertically, but I guess in depth, right?
Sure.
So you need like at least 4 square meters of space. The space that I occupy is not massive, right? Again, it's basically just big enough for me to put my arms out full width, which, you know, is just under 2 meters, right? My arm span is probably like my height. I imagine like 185 centimeters, right? So just over that. I would like a bit more space than what I currently have, because occasionally if I do end up moving sideways a bit, I'll go and I'll move one arm all the way out to the side. And the way that PSVR 2 works, I think you saw it when we played, is it kind of shows you the ring fence of where of your area if you get close to the edge. So if you get too close to the edge, a big white grid comes up and it's like, hey, this is where you don't go past this area.
Okay,
right?
Okay, that's
and like
quite good.
It's not terrible when it comes up, but it's like I'd prefer it if it didn't show up, right? I prefer never to see it, and I kind of have to be like, oh, okay, and physically move back a bit and keep going with the song. So yeah, not a ton of space, I would say, but like you do need some space.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because I have in my living room, there is a lot of space, but taking up pretty much the entirety of the floor space is a big glass coffee table.
Yeah.
So then you've got to kind of twist the TV towards the area beyond the coffee table when you'd want to play VR games, and then take yourself up.
Well, you don't
have
to be able to see the TV, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Like you don't need to be able to see the TV.
Right.
Because like mine, I have like my couch facing my TV, but then there's like so there's like my couch here, my TV is like in front of it, obviously here.
Yeah.
I'm showing this right, and then like there's a space over here in this side of the room that's like not occupied, right? Like a shelf or something.
Similar to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am perpendicular to the TV when I'm playing, right? I can't see head onto the TV. I'm set to the side. Anyone sitting on the couch can either watch something else on TV or they can watch me playing because it mirrors what I see on the TV.
Okay.
And so they can just sit and watch. But yeah, you don't have to have the benefit of the VR is you get your own screen.
Yeah,
you don't have to,
of course. It's like the way the brain associates these things, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah, you're like, oh, if I get on, the TV has to face me.
Yeah, it has to be on. I need to be watching TV. No, that is pretty similar then. So no, that wouldn't be too bad at all. And obviously with the newer VR stuff, like the PSVR, you don't have the cameras that you have to set up.
Yeah, it's all like inside-out tracking. Yeah.
Yeah, which is quite handy.
I've heard it's not as good. I've had mostly like 99% success with it. Right, it's been pretty great. I have had 1 or 2 times. I don't know if it's like the PSVR's fault or if it's the Beat Saber's fault. A couple of times, like it'll lose like my left saber, right?
Oh, okay. It'll just
like I'll be swiping, and then suddenly it'll either lose tracking. It'll be like stuck in my like I'm here, or it'll just disappear, and I'm like, and then it'll be like level.
What the hell?
I'm like, what the heck happened?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like it'll kind of re-find itself, and I shake them a bit, and it's like, oh, there it is. And it happens very infrequently, but I imagine that's something that happens much less frequently with like outside-in tracking, where you've got the base stations and stuff.
Very interesting. I would be interested to see which VR headsets the cafes use, the VR cafes.
Yeah.
Because they have the infrastructure for that kind of thing, right?
I'd be amazed if they're not using the MetaQuest, though. Just from like an economical standpoint. Like, I imagine it's going to vary depending on the cafe you go to. But, like, they might have like a Valve Index, right? But I'd imagine it's I also think it's like FOV matters a lot. FOV Meta Quest 2. I feel like the PSVR's got quite a wide FOV. Yeah, so the MetaQuest has a 90-degree field of view. The PSVR 2 has a 110-degree field of view. And even then, I would prefer a wider field of view personally on the thing. Like when you're wearing it, you can look around and you can see everything in the virtual space, but you can also see like in your peripheral vision, it's just black, right? There's like nothing there after a certain point, after 110 degrees, which, you know, is not ideal. I wonder if the MetaQuest 3's got a higher field of view.
I'm seeing if I can like peep the photos of my local VR cafe, the main one that I'm thinking of, to see if I can see what VR headsets people are actually using. Let's have a look.
It looks like the MetaQuest 3 does have a 110 as well, so it's just the two.
Okay, interesting. No, this is weird. I can't see that many photos of people with actual VR headsets on. Just alcoholic beverages, scoreboards.
I'd be very surprised if they're not using like the MetaQuest, just because they're just like, economical, right? Like if someone breaks one, like you can just like replacing it for a few £100 opposed to like over £1,000 is much simpler, right? And then even like configuring base stations and stuff is probably just like a real hassle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of light field cameras or anything that's like looking down at the playing zones themselves. But no, that is very interesting. Yeah, I will see if I could end up trying one of those things, one of those cafes at some point, because I have heard very good things about them. Very good things indeed. Yeah.
I've never played VR out and about. I've seen it a few times. Like I've been to one or two arcades that do have like VR headsets available. I've just not played them. I don't love the idea of playing in a headset that somebody else played in, you know?
Yeah.
To be fair, they're probably not playing for
sweaty.
Well, that's the thing. They're probably not playing for very long. I definitely wouldn't want somebody playing in my VR headset after I've been playing for like over an hour, because it's real. It's not a nice experience. You know, I've really got to like wipe it down and kind of clean it after the fact. You know, it's not not great, but
exactly.
You know, it's a good way of trying it, I guess. You know, the experience, which I would recommend. It's good stuff.
Interesting. And then
go on,
Oh no, continue. Go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it really depends on like how you are just in the virtual space in general. Like, I don't know, some people get like a little bit motion sick, or some people get a little bit, I know you're a little bit more prone to that kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I am susceptible to getting motion sickness when I have VR headsets on. It's I think when things are moving, when I've got them on. So some things I've tried before, I put the headset on and then you are controlling a character, but you move the character with the joystick on the controller you're holding, right? And so you're standing still, but the character that you are supposedly kind of seeing through is moving, right? And that's when I get that feeling. I think for something like Beat Saber, where your character is staying still, I know obviously you've got all the blocks coming towards you, because your character's staying still, and because obviously the only camera changes really is directly attached to what you're actually doing, kind of the field of view and swinging your arms about and stuff like that. I think that would be a bit better. But that's not something I've tried in a while.
I think Beat Saber might be fine because it's just the notes. Like the environment is mostly static, like as in like the track that they move down is static. The environments around move, but they don't move like at you. They kind of just move in and of themselves. The only things that move at you are the cubes. I have had one or two times where the environments have moved in such a way that it felt like they were coming, like it felt like I was moving, and like one or two times, it very infrequently, I've had that feeling like, whoa, you know, it's kind of just I felt like I moved for a second.
Loss of balance or something, right?
Yeah. But then so I'm not a very motion sick person. I don't get car sick. I don't get seasick. You know, I don't get motion sick really at all. But I was playing Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is like PlayStation's, you know, launch title for the PSVR 2. And by default, there's quite a few tricks that they use to mitigate motion sickness in VR, right? So initially with the Colin Mountain, whenever you try to turn, you turn in like fixed intervals. So you're looking here, and then suddenly you're looking here. Like it's not a smooth transition. It's like image, image, image. You kind of move in like 15-degree increments as you turn.
Right. Like snapping.
Which does a great job. Yeah, exactly, snapping. And then I think as you move, you kind of teleport. So you kind of point where you're going to go, and you kind of jump, right? And again, so it's kind of, you move like that. But you can turn all these off in the settings, right? So you can go in the settings and you can turn on smooth rotation, which I did. I'm like, I can try that. And then you can turn on, again, the analog stick moving, right? So that you move with the analog stick and you kind of move forward, and you can turn like this, and you can change the speed of your turning. And I turned them on, and I played for like 15 minutes, and man, I've never felt more sick in my entire life.
Wow.
Christ. It was, I mean, obviously I have felt more sick, like when I was actually going to vomit, but like, given that it was my first time doing it, I thought this would be fine. It'll be easy. I don't get motion sick, but like, I was on the couch for like half an hour after that, feeling like I was going to throw up. I didn't, but like, it was real bad. Like with the full motion, like, and fast motion as well, turning and moving, like instinctively your brain's like, yeah, this is fine. But then the rest of your body is like, what is going on? We're not moving, but we're moving, and it's just, it does not like it at all.
Like your ears aren't detecting balance changes, your stomach's kind of sending signals up, and it's just all a bit of a mishmash. That's so interesting that it's the smoother movements that cause that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense why they're off by default, right?
Yeah, the game is mostly like a climbing game, so you do a lot of climbing, like rock climbing, moving up. That's completely fine. It's really just mostly like the turning, the smooth rotating, and the smooth like moving and rotating at the same time really messes with you. It is, it's not fun. Another thing that some games do is they'll like, whenever you go to turn or move at all, the FOV, they'll like a vignette will come right in, and there'll be like a really aggressive vignetting effect that kind of makes it look like you're looking through a peephole as it goes around. You know, so you have like full field of view, and then you start to move, and it goes whoop and kind of closes right in on you, and then you stop moving, and it kind of fades back out again, which surprisingly does help a good amount on the motion sickness. I don't know what it is about it, but I guess it makes it feel more like you're looking at a picture of something moving as opposed to moving with your field of view.
Yeah. I wonder if that smooth, full field of view rotation is somehow related to the feeling of dizziness when your head's spinning. Yeah. And if it's the relation to that, if it's the same cause, or if one is linked to the other in the mind, or you know, from your senses, that causes that nausea. But man, from the way you describe it there, if I played that game and turned that off, I need to go lie down, and I just be like this like half a day, because when I used to get motion sick in the car, I used to like not recover for like a number of hours afterwards. Yeah, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and I had no motion sickness at all, and it threw me. I imagine it's something you could get used to. I imagine with like, you know, like if you I don't know what the word is, but like you force yourself to do it often, expose yourself to it, you do some like exposure therapy, you know, you kind of do it again and again and again. Imagine eventually you kind of get more used to it.
Yes.
But like when you try it for the first time, man, it's an experience.
Very interesting. So, Isaac, I've just got the word Apple Watch rings written down here on our little docket.
Yeah, so you have an Apple Watch, correct?
I do. It's not on, but I've got it here actually. I'll put it on to immerse myself in the conversation. I wear it very often.
You wear it every day? Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I also have
unless I forget.
Yeah. Do you sleep in yours? Is my first question.
I only sleep with it on if I am traveling. Like if I've gone somewhere, and like let's say I'm staying at a friend's house, and the nearest plug socket to charge my phone is not in a convenient location near my bed. So what I'll do is I'll just go put my phone on charge, and I'll put my watch on so that I can set my alarm, right? Or to check notifications in the morning. So not normally, but when I go traveling, usually I
didn't used to, but like these last few weeks I've been wearing it every night when I sleep. So I kind of charge it for like an hour before I go to sleep, and then I kind of wear it throughout the night. Sometimes if it's low in the morning, I might put it on for like half an hour, but it charges pretty quick. Not a sponsor, but I've been wearing it to sleep. I quite like the info you get on like which. Do we have the same watch? Do you know which series you have?
7.
I've got the 6. Mine's older, right?
Okay.
So when you wear it to sleep, it gives you the full spectrum of like how much time you spent in core sleep, REM sleep, and deep sleep, as well as how much time you spent awake, right? And so it's kind of interesting to see how much time you spend in each of those stages and how many little times you wake up in the night, right? Like fully kind of wake up. It's interesting little things to track and kind of track how much sleep you get and whatnot. But my next question, Nick, really is: do you fill your rings regularly? And do you attempt to fill the rings?
Okay. On the
before you start, sorry. There are people who probably have no idea what we're talking about in terms of the rings on the Apple Watch, right?
Yes.
So the Apple Watch has 3 rings that are related to like movement, basically. There's an outside ring, which is red. There's like they're concentric rings. So there's a big red ring, and then inside that there's a green ring, and then inside that there's a blue ring. The blue ring, Nick is trying to show it off here.
You can't see it there, but because I've just put it on, then they're all unfilled in their entirety.
Yeah, it's a little easier if I show it like this on the phone. There's like 3 rings there. I'm like 3/4 on my rings. So there's a red ring, which is, they call it move. It's basically the number of calories you've burned today from activity, right? So it checks your heart rate regularly and then calculates your calorie burn, and also takes data like your height, your gender, your weight, all that kind of stuff. And so you set a goal, and if you move that much and you burn that many calories a day, you fill the ring. Second ring is exercise. That's just exercise minutes. So you have to get your heart rate like above a certain amount before it classes as exercise. And once you do, you set your goal. So if your goal is like half an hour, if you hit 30 minutes of exercise in a day, you'll fill that ring. And again, the ring slowly fills up as you get exercise minutes during the day. And the last one is stand hours. You have to stand up for at least 2 minutes in a given hour, and that gets you like 1 point. The default, I think, is 12 hours, the default goal of stand hours. So if you stand up for at least 2 minutes every hour for 12 hours, you'll fill that goal, right? And you've got to do it like once an hour. You can't just stand up for like 24 minutes all at once. That doesn't clock. So you've got to stand up like once an hour for 2 minutes to fill that in. So, Nick, you were talking about sleep. I think hopefully people know what we're on about now when we said these rings. Do you fill your rings?
So I do. I used to fill them a lot more than I do now, because of the ways that my days used to be scheduled. I used to go to the gym pretty much every day. I'd always take my Apple Watch to the gym. I would do like a 40-minute exercise bike, like virtual class on a projector in my gym, and my rings are set at 430 calories for movement, 30 minutes for exercise, which I think is the standard one that you mentioned, and I think also 12 hours for stand hours, right? So the 2 minutes per hour, so I'm standing for 2 minutes in 12 separate hours within the day. I used to, funnily enough, and this was the case when I was going to the gym every day. I only go to the gym maybe twice a week now. Right. I used to just either obliterate them, or I still do, either completely obliterate them. So these rings, when I tap on them, go like shing, 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 like around 3 times, right? It's like, you've burned 1,200 calories just by walking today, and you've done like 300 minutes of exercise. Or they'll be like close to 0, because I'll be just working from home all day. I've barely stepped out the house, and thus the only real movement I'm doing is, walking from here to this room that I work in to the kitchen,
to the fridge,
or from this room to I work into the bathroom, right? So it's sometimes it's like, you're way ahead of your usual ring goals for this day. You're like, you've smashed all of them and it's 9 a.m. Or sometimes it's like, there's still time. It's 11:55 p.m. There's still time to get to smash your rings.
Mine's so aggressive with it sometimes, right? It's like, sometimes if you fail a day, it's like, you didn't hit your exercise goal yesterday. Do some more exercise today. It'll be like, try doing some more exercise today, or like try standing up occasionally. I'm like, all right, fine. I get it.
The stand-up one is really patronizing, because it's like, if I just literally stand up to go and get something, it's like,
you did it.
You stood up. Wow, well done. I was so proud of you. And I'm like, thanks. I always think thanks, Tim, whenever I look at my watch when I see that. I always read it out in like his voice. So I like to think so. I mean, right now I've completed 0 of my rings because I've just put this on. But I do like to complete my rings, I'd say, more than 50% of the time in the week, I would say.
I'm actually on a streak, Nick. I have completed 14 days in a row of full ring activity.
Oh, very good, very good.
And I'm committing to this publicly, because I feel like it's going to help me commit to continuing to fill all my rings daily. I'll check in next time. I'll let you know how it's going. first of all, you can tell there's a difference between our just sizes, because you said your move goal is set to 450, which mine is not. Mine is set substantially higher. But I think that's just like a difference in, like, I'm taller and much bigger than you are, right? But it's interesting. There's also like a competition feature, right? So you can can share your ring activity with other people, and then so you can see like the how the other people are doing on their rings, and on top of that, you can also compete with those people.
You can
to see how who does better. The way it works is that if you compete with somebody, you get points. You get 1 point for every % you fill your ring up, any ring, and there's a maximum of 600 points a day. So you can get like a maximum of like 200% on each thing. But you can do more of any one, by the way. So you can do like 300% on exercise and like 100 on stand, and that would still get you like the 400 points. And so this last week, I've been doing a challenge against my girlfriend on the app here, and there's 2 days left. I'm barely ahead. I'm on 2,587 points, and tomorrow is the last day. And then she's on 2,560. She's like 27 points behind me. It's very close.
Oh, very close indeed. Interesting. I've never used the competition feature.
This is the first time I've used it.
Yeah. I've got a lot of friends with Apple Watches, actually, who all go to the gym. Quite a lot of them go every day. I should tell them to get this, because I think that'll probably motivate me.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
I think like I've found myself doing it more, one, because I want to win. Right, like I'm a competitive person. I look at it, I'm like, you know, my girlfriend will go play badminton on an evening or something, and then I'm like, okay, I need to go and play some Beat Saber or something. I need to get some exercise points clocked in here so that I can get up, you know, to the score. I can't have her beating me on this stuff.
That's it. That's it. But also on the flip side, sometimes if you've done nothing, you feel like you're falling behind, and you're like, oh my god, everyone's done something today, right? So I need to go and at least, like, you know, do something to just get to not look like I'm just a complete lazerball, right?
Everyone else is looking at their rings and they see Nik's rings, and it's like 100 move
right now,
2 minutes.
Exactly. It's very interesting. You can tell that I've been more dormant this year, because apparently my average calories burned per day this year is 406 opposed to like 550, I think it said last year. So like a pretty big difference there. But I think I'm wearing it a bit less as well this year. I think I'm forgetting a little bit more often. Like whenever I leave to go on a trip, I set reminders. I'm like, it's like 9 a.m. Get your Apple Watch. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get my Apple Watch. But so I think there is a lot of exercise that's missed out by me just forgetting it. And I'll always notice, because I've got my tan line, right, that you can kind of see, and I'll look down, I'm like, oh god, I forgot my watch. It's like there's a gaping like but that proves that I do wear it relatively often, right? Because there is like a distinct line, but it is just more apparent when I forget. But I am a fan of completing the rings. I probably should adjust the goals. I tend not to hit the stand. I want to reduce the stand goals. So I think it's 12. I noticed that a lot of times.
I think the stand is the easiest to fit, though, man.
Oh, I just think standing I'm not standing up enough.
But all you gotta do is stand up for 2 minutes an hour.
I think sometimes as well I'm standing up and it doesn't think I am.
Really?
I think that sometimes if I'm standing and doing something, it's like I won't get the hours for it.
Or do you just sit for a very long time? You know, sometimes.
I also do sit for a very long time sometimes. That's also true.
Yeah.
I want to move. So the move goal is 450. That should be probably close to 600. Because it's not just exercise calories, right? It's kind of
it's just moving about, living.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like passive. It is active calories, but it's like lesser active calories, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like your walk to the fridge counts on the move goal, but doesn't count towards your exercise goal, right?
Exactly. The exercise goal I would want to set closer to 45 minutes rather than 30. Yeah. So I would move those. I think I've just I've just been too lazy to just go into the settings and change it, right? And it's very satisfying to have your ring like swing around 3 times as well.
I don't know if you've I assume you're on the new like WatchOS update as well. Like it's
Man, I got this new WatchOS update, and they didn't explain to me in the UX at all how to do anything, and I had to spend so recently. I've not been checking my notifications. I've not been putting quote unquote cinema mode on when I go to the gym or when I'm walking around. And
you put cinema mode on like regularly?
I put it on when I go to the gym because I don't want to get into a habit where I keep looking at my progress on the watch because I'm fixated on it, right?
Right.
So I turn that off usually, and I only turn it back on when I finished my workout. But I was like swiping up to get my control center, which is what I was used to, and I'm like, why are these? Right? Why are these like notifications there now? Now you have to push the side button.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get it. So I Googled this on the train the other day because I was like, I need to know how to work this damn thing. The little home center, like the little home screen.
They've changed it to like a vertical grid now as well, instead of like a big bubble of bubbles.
Yes, which I prefer because the big bubble of bubbles was a pain in the ass when you didn't know which direction to go in when you wanted something specific. I think the only thing that's the same is swiping down for notifications, right? Message notifications.
I like it a lot more though. I think like the new exercise ring stuff there's a lot more you can do on the watch and it looks a lot nicer.
When I actually looked through Apple's documentation of how to use the newest controls, I did think, oh, this is better. Like this is actively better. I just wish they'd told me when the watch updated on the watch itself, rather than me getting confused. But no, it is very good. It is very good.
But no, yeah, I'm on a 14-day streak, man. I've got currently mine set to 12 stand hours, which is the one that I usually crush every day because it's also just the easiest to hit, right? Because every day every hour at like 10 to, my watch will give me a little buzz. It'll be like, hey, time to stand.
Yeah.
And so, it's easy enough to kind of to measure that. I currently have my exercise set to 60 and my move set to 1,200. And so I'm going to see how long I can keep that one going, man.
Very good. Very good. Where are the streaks at? Where do I see streaks? I don't think I've got a streak in a long time.
I'm just looking at my, just like the app, I can just see the number of days that I've kind of filled it.
I see. Yeah, I've not got a streak at any time.
It tells you the streak. Recently. It might tell you in the health app somewhere. Sometimes there's like stuff in the health app.
Yeah, exactly.
But no,
very interesting indeed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm at the gym most days these days. Like, to be fair, I'm at the gym like 3 days and then like the same building, but not the gym for badminton, like 2 other days of the week. But so that makes it easy enough to fill the exercise rings because those are kind of just chucked off in the morning, right? And then the Beat Saber makes it so easy, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
right. It's so easy to clock like an hour of exercise with when you're just playing a game.
That I should look into that because it is very interesting to be able to just do it at home. But lots of movement. People do home workouts and stuff as well. I know people who do home workouts. They'll stick a YouTube video on and they'll do their like X amount of reps of squats and star jumps and burpees and lunges and all that kind of thing. But yeah, no, very interesting. I need to get more streaks. You
can do it, man. I believe. Yeah, and I've just been into it a lot more these last couple of weeks. Really trying to fill those rings and get them going, and it's good. I like it.
It's very motivating. So my homework is to get everyone on the competition. Everyone I know on like the ring competitions, right? See who can,
I don't know, man. You need to find somebody that you think you can beat, and then challenge them to a competition because like
that's true.
If you want to maximize your points in a day, like if you want to get 600 points, which is the max, you need to be getting like, so having your set lower will help you there, right? Because right now, if your goal is set to 450 and you burn 900, that's 200%. So you get 200 points for that, right? If you do 1300, that's going to get you like 300%. So you get 300 points, right? 600 is the max you can get in one day. So you've got to go against people who have got like equally set goals, right? If you go against somebody who's got like really easy goals and they're crushing them every single day, then you shall lose, right?
Yes, no, I should check. It'll be interesting actually to even see what other people's goals are if they've changed them from the standard ones.
Yeah. So I think it picks your standard ones based on like the information you put in, right? So I think you put in like height, age, sex, that kind of stuff. And I think it gives you like a goal by default, and then you can adjust it from there. I think it gives everybody the same 30-minute exercise and 12-hour stand. Then. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so the move calories was based off of what I gave it then. So that makes more sense. Okay. That is fair enough then.
I think mine defaulted to like 800, and I've upped it to 1200. So like I think it defaults to a certain amount, and you can adjust it from there, right?
I see. That is very interesting. Yeah, I think mine probably started at 400 maybe then, and then I moved it to 450 just to add a little bit on top. Yeah. But no, there you go.
It's tricky when you first start though, because you don't know. It's like how much you want to burn, and you're like, I've got no idea, right? You've got no reference for how many calories you burn in a day.
Like I knew before I got this, because this has been a lot better in telling me kind of how much calories I burn when I'm doing what. When I used to do cross-trainer, treadmill, exercise bike, stuff like that, the onboard computer would tell me how many calories I'm burning, but they are so inaccurate.
If you don't know somebody's height, weight, and gender, you can't know it.
No idea.
They can take a wild stab in the dark. But like, if you're like a 4'11" woman who weighs 95 pounds, the amount of calories you're going to burn based on your heart rate, because that's all they go on, right? You put your hands on, they read your heart rate, and they tell you.
Yeah.
You versus like a 6'9" dude who weighs 350 pounds, you're going to burn wildly different calories, right?
Exactly.
The 300-pound dude might burn like quadruple the number of calories in the same session. So it's impossible for them to know at all. It's impossible for them to be anywhere near accurate when it comes to trying to guess, because they don't know who you are, right?
Exactly. So that's been a lot better, especially like across doing different things, like because it's the same device on for doing cardio or doing strength-based stuff or going on a hike or whatever. It's almost the relativity between the consistency of having one thing measuring your calories across doing loads of different things. That is also very useful, because then it gives me more of a improved idea of how many more or less calories I burn doing something specific as opposed to something else, right? So like going on a half an hour walk as opposed to going on the exercise bike, or doing strength training versus going on a hike. And it's that, I think that is quite valuable as well, which is very interesting to observe as well.
I just like having the data, to be honest. Like,
it's nice.
It's nice as well when if you track a workout and then you look at it afterwards, it'll give you like a breakdown of your heart rate into like the 5 zones, right? There's like zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in terms of how much of a workout you got. And like I've noticed, as I play more Beat Saber, my heart rate gets lower doing the same kind of stuff, right? Like my body is adjusting to how much Beat Saber I'm playing, and is lowering. And also I'm probably just getting more efficient at the swipes and stuff, right? I'm probably not flailing around as much. And so my heart rate doesn't get up to like zones 3, 4, and 5, right? I'm not hitting zone 5 when I'm playing Beat Saber. Zone 5 is like all out, you know.
Like like you're like going crazy. Above like 165, 170.
You're going crazy, exactly. But then like I'll go and I'll play badminton, right? And when I'm playing badminton, like 1v1, I want to win, right? I'm going to play as hard as I can to win that game, right? Sprinting around a court. And then I check my watch afterwards, and it's like, I spent a lot more time in like zones 3, 4, and like kind of dipping into zone 5, right? Where you're trying to play as hard as possible, right? Whereas like,
of course,
it's just that competition that makes you want to win.
Go harder,
I'm gonna win, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like seeing that data after the fact, right? Kind of lets you know how hard you tried and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, it's very good. It's interesting as well, like, because like sometimes when I'm doing exercise bike, because I'm kind of in one position on my own, I won't put cinema modes on. I'll just leave the exercise activity on, and I'll see the zones change, and that makes me want to hit the higher zones.
Next one, when
we do sprints or like things like that, I will like deliberately try and go harder to try and hit, and it's really satisfying when you like hit the upper zones as well. And it's like you moved into zone 4 and zone 5. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I'm like, it's like 171 beats per minute.
Zone 5 is like you can't say a full sentence afterwards. Like it's like you can barely get out a word.
Exactly. But then it's also nice after strength-based stuff to then look at it after the fact and be like, oh, okay, here's what, legs for me personally absolutely blasts my heart rate to the moon. So it's interesting, like seeing like all the different variations of how high my heart rate goes after the fact as well, if I'm doing varied strength-based exercise. But it's very interesting. I do like the data.
It is crazy how much more, because I'm the same way, how much more your heart rate goes up when you're doing leg exercises versus doing any kind of arm exercise. It is wild.
It's mad. And I always feel it as well. I'm always like, the only times really that I feel lightheaded or sick is after leg exercises. And I was like, you feel great afterwards, but it's that's always really blasts it. And then the calorie burn just goes shring as well. It's like, you burn 100 calories in like 1.5 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I can tell. It's very good.
Well, Nick, unfortunately, we're out of time for this episode of the What Have You Been Up To podcast. Again, for those of you who are not, who didn't see the last episode, we're doing shorter episodes now, but they're more regular. So you'll see them in your feed more regularly, twice as regularly as you used to see them. And so the same amount of content, but just spread over more days. Nick and I'll be back shortly with another episode of the podcast, letting you know what we have been up to. Until then, though, thank you for watching. Be sure to go ahead and follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, which I think is now part of YouTube Music.
Yeah. It's been shut down, man. Yeah.
So feel free to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nick and Isaac, where we post the podcast and other things as well. For now, though, thank you for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.